Welcome everyone to the live scorecard build video. So this is the first one in this series. We're going to be doing them every week. And in this video, I'm going to try and keep it under an hour. We're going to see how long it actually takes. Typically, when we do these for our clients, they're going to take a lot longer and there's a longer process. But just to get the core fundamentals down and actually build one live, we're going to try and do this once a week, every hour. Now, bit of context, if you're new around here, I'm Neil, I'm the co-founder and leader. We are ScoreApp's #1 partner. So what we do all day, every day is we build quiz funnels for businesses, individuals, founders, and we implement them into businesses in terms of a wider marketing strategy. So we've been doing this since 2022. We've built over, I think, 1,000 quiz funnels now. So I should have all of the knowledge to try and get this done in an hour, but we're going to jazz it up a little bit. So what you're going to see here is these are 3 wheels, and so you'll see here we've got 3 different types of wheels, and they are almost like a magic trick. I'm going to be unaware of what it's going to spit out, and we're going to try and build something new together. Benefit for you guys, you're going to see me do it live and you might pick up some tips and tricks, or if you're trying to build your first one, you can just watch this and sort of get the core idea and then spin it up yourselves. So without further ado, we're going to get into it. So the first the first wheel spin is the industry one. You'll see what we've seen over the 4 or 5 years we've been doing this is that scorecards can fit into literally every business. The amount of different businesses we've worked with, the different use cases is off the scale. So I've just picked out, wider buckets of the industries, and we'll spin the wheel for that one. In terms of the service or product, now just split it up to B2B service, B2B product, B2C service, B2C product. This is just going to give us an indication of what we're trying to sell or what sort of product we're going to go into. And then the final one is the use case or the type of scorecard. So our core philosophy, we typically will build 2 scorecards for businesses. We have a data collection-based scorecard. We have a sales-based scorecard. Maybe I'll go into that when we actually go into the build. And typically, they're the 2 big ones. They're for the marketing style scorecards. Now, there are other use cases for scorecard, and I've got them maybe slightly smaller because the majority of people who watch this will want to dive into those first 2. So we've got the wait list, and if you've been living under a rock and you're unaware of what a wait list is, this allows you just to pre-launch something, gather how well the actual launch should be. You can get information before, so that improves launch of a new product or service, or maybe it's a book launch. You can implement a waitlist, get information up front, and then launch knowing that there's going to be actual attention to what you're trying to launch. The client improvement scorecard, this is a real game changer for some of the larger businesses who have a core client base already there. You can build a quiz or a scorecard that basically asks key questions of your already existing clients. What this allows you to do is almost understand if there's any gaps that you're not fulfilling for that client. So for instance, for us, we've typically been a very done-for-you service when we've put this out there, and it's fitted in with other marketing, but we typically see people that have budgets of under $500 a month. We've now built a full school community that fits that, who wouldn't have gone into our done for you, but there was a massive demand for maybe a cheaper style thing to learn quiz funnels. So think of that as, imagine if you've got existing clients and there might be a section of your business that you can help. Another way that we build this out is our existing clients, we might see they might be struggling to get their own content done every month. So one thing that we could develop there, if we see a lot of clients do that, we might book out some time to go and visit our clients in person every month, do a 2-day mega slog of recording, and then we have all the assets. So that might be an additional add-on we can add on. Obviously, it's going to be a lot more expensive, but for that service, if there's a clear gap, then we can add that on. So that's the client improvement scorecard. The next one will be something around education or a course. So if you're running a masterclass or webinar, then what you can do is you can ask questions to test them at that point. So you might ask some questions about what you're going to teach them. They might score 30%. And then obviously the downstream, that once they've completed what you're teaching them, at the end, they're going to get a higher score, and that sort of enforcement loop around what you are doing. The next one is an onboarding scorecard. So this should be quite self-explanatory. If you've got a sales process before they come into your company, you can do an onboarding scorecard, which just makes sure that you get everything aligned into your CRM, etc., so that when you do an onboarding process, it's very structured. If you're going to do an onboarding call, then you know like key areas that you want to dive into. You can skip some areas that make a lot of logical sense, so you can save time there. Also, that is very good for the sort of SaaS tech products, is that someone might come on an individual license onto your platform. You do the onboarding information scorecard, and you might see that they've got a team of like 8 people. Then you can instantly try and upsell them into that team. Say, actually, this package is better suited. You might do a special offer for them. What you're doing there is basically embedding it into their business from day one versus someone having an individual test license and then not implementing it fully. The final one is a client satisfaction scorecard. So we see a lot of people who just fail to get testimonials and feedback from clients. Effectively, you can do a scorecard which also like checks how well you did in terms of communication, the end thing that you gave to them, etc. And then also you can ask, can we use what we've done for you in our marketing? Do you give us permission? And would it be great if you could leave a testimonial? So they're the sort of breakdowns. And we're going to spin the wheel because we're going to do it live. And then another caveat just here, I'm going to be using ChatGPT a lot because I'm not an expert in all of these industries. We've worked with companies in all of these spaces, but I would not say I'm an expert. And usually when we are building these for clients, we will utilize the expertise of the person we are working with. So I'm going to use ChatGPT to plug that gap. Typically, when we do build scorecards, we'll do a mixture of AI and our own expertise. So let's dive in. The first one will be, what type of industry will it be today? Perfect. One of my favorites. Fitness and wellness. So we're going to keep that there. I'm going to judge if it's a B2C or B2B service, whatever. Let's see. B2C service. Perfect. I'm already starting to think of what sort of business with the designs for already. And then type of scorecard. Scorecard. It looks like scorecard 1 actually. Brilliant. So what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to plug it into this sort of AI ChatGPT that I've created. Should come up now. So what was it? Fitness and wellness. Spelt it wrong, doesn't matter. B2C service. And then it was a scorecard 1 data collection. So it's going to give me 3 specific business types, and we are going to pick what one is our favorite. Okay, I quite like this one, but we're going to change it very slightly. Let's use this as our main source of truth here. So I'm actually going to say PT specializing in men, because we're going to come back to that, and there's going to be something that we do, which is quite interesting. And typically PTs, they might not have a narrow specialization like that, but let's just use men as this example. So we're going to start off with a bit of theory. I'm going to try and get it done within like 2-3 minutes. So most people will build their quiz funnel, and they'll do it very much like this. So let's just draw a very quick funnel. They will just have arrow there. Oh, let's do an arrow like that. And we're just going to have traffic. This is going to be questions/quiz. And then they're going to say book a call. Like that. People view their quiz funnel as a very linear line. So they're going to get people to their scorecard, they're going to get people to complete it, and then people are going to be like, wow, I need your service. What we typically find is it's all built around 2 key things. Number 1 is for people to notice you. They need to see you 11 times. And then the key one, and this is the one that is fundamental for what we're doing here, is for someone to know you. And I say trust you is downstream of that. They need to spend 2 to 7 hours with you. And that can be across loads of different factors. It could be a call, an in-person webinar, it could be an ebook, it could be they consume your YouTube videos, loads of different things to get to that 2 to 7 hours. So how does that fit into how we're going to build this out? So typically what we do for clients is we have, what we're going to do today is the data collection scorecard. I'm just going to put SC, and then we will have, further downstream, we will have a sales scorecard. Now, the reason is almost like the characteristics of this first scorecard that we build, this is not salesy. So typically we'll not have a direct selling CTA. This is to build trust and authority and push them into content to build, guess what? So for instance, for us, like we will run ads to our data collection scorecard. We'll get people in, we have to find out the information that we want from them. And then naturally, we're not going to say book and a call. We're going to say, okay, now follow me on YouTube for this content. Okay, go to my Instagram or download this ebook. So it's not sales. We're not trying to get them on calls. You almost, from the get-go, if you're going to try and position this as value, you're going to erode that level of trust and knowing you. So that's what we do. And then in between, just for further context, let's do a green so it's separate. This is where we have nurture, so email nurtures. We might have retargeting. Is it 1T? I think it's 1T. And then we'll go, obviously, the goal is to push them to other content. So 2 to 7 hours. And then what you're going to find is in the sales scorecard, what we will typically do, this is the one which is like, are you ready? Would you be a good fit? Something around that. So hopefully that sort of makes sense. So what we're doing today is this scorecard. We're going to be very data collection. We're going to be not salesy. We're going to answer a core question for our target market. Built around pain. Okay, so enough of the information. Let's start building out this scorecard and this core concept. So what could be a good scorecard for a PT specializing in? Sounds a bit weird, but we're going to run with it. So typically, ideally, the end goal of after 2 scorecards will probably be to have in-person training with an individual. That's probably where a PT makes the most of their money. So what is the goal in between? I reckon it's going to be a personalized online training plan. And now I'm actually going to put this as free to very low ticket. So if I was going to build this out and we were going to have a discussion with a client who's come to us, we would say how easy it's for you to take all of the scorecard answers. So let's add the scorecard in here, spin it up to a personalized online training plan. Is it like, can we do this really effectively without it costing you a lot of money and time? If it's going to cost some limited time, then we might do very low tickets, so maybe like $99 or maybe even like $9 or something like that. Or can we just give it out free and know that people are going to love this, and then you can hand pick the people in your area to go, do you know what, you actually go to the gym, or I can actually offer in-person personal training to you. Or they might have an ongoing online system which they go, okay, you got your training plan now, why have you not followed it? To stay committed, join my online program /group. So you can start to see how we can build this out for a PT. So key thing here is, what is the core thing? What are the core pain points? We're just going to reverse engineer it. What are the pain points that this scorecard needs to sort of cover? It might be because with the start of 2026, it might be promised yourself that you would get into shape 2026, but you failed. Struggling to shift that Xmas weight or something like that. Other pains around this is jumping on the scales and the weight is not going down. Getting bored already of Jim, something like that. So these are like pain points. I'm not going into too much aggression here. This is just how we might position the ads. So you can start to see how the ads, something like this. Let's make it bigger. So the ads would go to this pain point. You can already see that on a meta ad. Like, promise yourself you get to shape in 2026, but you failed, struggling to shift that Christmas weight, and then naturally, where's the scorecard going to fit in? This scorecard to see X, Y, Z. Now, the key question is, what scorecard can we do that fits these pain points? So, off the top of my head, a really good scorecard idea could be, let's just make it larger, something around how effective is your training plan in 2026. One example, it could be the Jan Panic training test, the Jan Panic gym score. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take these, put them into ChatGPT and say, okay, for scorecard 1 for a PT specializing in helping men, here are a few scorecard ideas. Oh, that's not what we wanted to do. Maybe we've got to type them out. How effective your training plan 2026? Next one, the Jan Panic train test, like hopefully Jan Panic trading test, or the Jan Panic gym score. Okay, let's see what it does. Now, I should have probably said a horrific thing there. That's got that men's bantam real value. Okay. I'm going to use that one. Now, this is something that is emotional, which is good. The Jan sort my fitness life out. Scorecard. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I sort of understand the core concept now. ScoreApp. And we're going to start building this, and then we're going to graphically design it, and it's going to be fantastic. Well aware that we're flying in already. So let's go through it. So let's create a scorecard. We're going to do a AI setup, which is cool. We're going to generate new leads because that's where it's fitting in. We're going to do multiple scores. I'm going to say PT specializing in men. And this is where ScoreApp's amazing. It almost gives you like a base level scorecard. Now, it's never going to be fantastic. It's just going to be able to give you a base template to get going, all types of men. The reason why I've not gone very specific here is I'm going to do something clever with how we do the results page. Let's just take this core idea, sort their fitness lives out in 2026. Next one, Let's just edit that. Missed the T, which is fine. 20 minutes in. God, maybe just if I just keep this under an hour, we should be fine. The pain base that I need to the January. I need to sort my fitness life out. Scorecard. Okay, so usually it does this very well. So we're going to say nutrition habits, work out themselves, I think. Work out. Structure, maybe. Workout effectiveness. We're going to go for. Strength training effectiveness. Then we're going to do cardio training effectiveness. Then we're going to do mindset. Oh, having a nightmare here. Clarity. And I'm quite happy with that. Let's just use these questions. I can jazz them a bit later. That's a good one. That's a good one. Let's use that one. We're going to get more suggestions. Let's use, do you track your calories day to day? Let's do another one. Do we have protein? Yeah. What does your alcohol consumption look like on a normal week? Next, I'm actually thinking we maybe do another one that will be like habits or something like that. Do that one. Cool, that'll be fine. Cardio. Do you do a cardio? Do a cardio session per week. What forms of cardio do you do per week? Something like that. Let's do how many steps typically achieve per day. Let's try and do one more, get more suggestions. Bear in mind, this is not like this is not be all end all. We can edit them later. Don't like any of them. Do you recover? What am I trying to get at here? Maybe we say, that's fine. Let's use that. Let's move on quickly and we can add them at the end. Mental clarity. Go on then, that looks good. Yeah. Skip workout sessions. Would you class your not motivation, discipline, strong? Good one. Let's just move on. Create my scorecard. Now this is going to give us the base template. Don't be too concerned about the questions there. Obviously, if you're going to build it yourself, like, you can really dive into the questions, and I would typically, but you know, we're just going to make sure. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to add a few more questions, and these are going to be the crux of our qualification questions. So the way we do this, because we view this as just a data collection scorecard, the best part about it is we're going to find out all of this info from our prospect. And those questions are semi-useful for us. They're good to paint a picture, but they are useful for the scoring. But what we can cleverly do is we can ask stuff almost selfishly that gives us critical information. So, for instance, if we're a PT, it might be like, are you currently following a training plan? Do you feel like, I'm just going to write them out now, like, are you currently following a training plan? Would you benefit from a group where you are held accountable for your training and support? What are your fitness goals? You can start to see how these are very fundamental to what we're going to be doing later down the line when we're trying to sell. So let's go through the first one. What was it? Completely forgotten. Are you currently following a training plan? Yes. Something like that. Let's do another one. Would you benefit accountable for your fitness goals? Something like that. Probably. Not sure. No. And then what's the last one? Okay, I'm not sure what's going on with the camera. I'm going to try and pause it. So try and get back into here. Right, let's just continue. So losing weight. We're going to do this multiple choice actually. Just while I'm here, we're going to do, you can tick multiple. So it might be losing weight. It might be gaining muscle, getting healthier, other. And what we can do is if they tick, that's what we'll see. Other's fine. What else could we do? Qualification questions. Perfect. So let's do, how would you class your competency in the gym? Beginner, moderate, expert. The gym is my life. Something like that. Save. And then we can do, let's leave it at that. So we're going to just dive back into the landing page. Now I'm going to do this branding. I'm going to be using leader branding here. Interesting. Logo maybe. Oh my god. Maybe we're not, because for some reason our logo has gone completely missing. Let's go desktop maybe. Baffling. Anyway, I'll just grab it from our website. That is bizarre. Oh, is it going to let me do it? Right, that's going to look blurry, but for our purposes, that'll be fine. Oh God, why would it disappear? There we go. So use that. Now your colors. So think of your brand. This is use of buttons. I'm going to use a leader green. I do have an official color, but I'm not going to pull it up just for this purposes. So I always usually set the branding straight away. Now this just will facilitate this across all of what we're doing. So we'll go to the landing page. What you'll see is it's changed for that sort of coloring. Now it's quite punchy. The way I usually build this out is this first hero section will be, colored. And then when we're going to go into, let's use this one, that will be white. So typically use your main color as like the background. Make sure your accents are the standout color. And then I would build this out with white down here. So we're just going to do, I'm going to do this. Now I'm going to use this as our core title. Do you know what? I'm actually not going to use that one. I'm going to use a different section. So let's use, so in ScoreApp, like if you're brand new to ScoreApp, majority of you should already be in here and using it. The banners allow you sometimes to add an image in behind the scenes, but that's like expert level. I'm not going to dive into that yet. I'm going to just literally use one that I use all the time, and it's this one. Allows us to add specialized logo stuff. Now, the way I build this out is typically like this. So I'll build this left. I'm going to make sure that heading 1 is used. And we're going to go, this is our scorecard title. So I'm going to do this for the January. I need to sort my fitness life out. Scorecard like that. Oh, do I like it? Do you know what? We're not going to go image just because it's a longer title. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to use one of the banners like so. I'm going to change this to black. We're going to get rid of that. The January. Let's do wide. It's just something about that black that I'm not loving, but it's okay for now. Now, the key thing that I'm not going to do here, I'm not going to add our branding. Now, the reason for this is I'm going to put this on ads and everything, and we kind of want this to not be like judgmental. I want someone to see those pain points that we put in the ads, do it. We don't need to distract them by saying, oh, it's by a leader, because then we're going to be like almost as though it's almost like we're trying to bait them in, and it's all about trying to sell. So we're just going to do it plain. I don't mind this as the call out. What I would prefer, I'm going to just change the green to slightly softer, and you'll see why in a second. Branding. I'm actually going to use a slightly softer green. Something like that. Reason for this, when I go to the landing page, the best landing pages that I see typically will have maybe heading for actually enjoyed for those who had an amazing something like this. Now, I'm not in love with that. I'm going to use Christmas. But what I will typically do, if we're going to change that, we're going to change that to our secondary green. And you'll start to see how that looks slightly better. And maybe we'll just make it. We're going to change this to the same, like so. Something not quite sitting right is there, so okay, that's fine. That can work for now. Then here we're going to be utilizing imagery. So what's our core things? We're going to get rid of this for a moment. I could have just pulled in a template, you know. Anyway, we're going to do the categories. So we know we've got 4 categories. So this one probably sits quite nicely and is working with that. So you've started the year intentions, but not quite paid off yet. But it's not quite gone to plan. Quite gone to plan. I'm actually going to get rid of that. I'm going to redesign this. So it's heading 4. No, that looks rubbish. This quiz has been designed to help you assess where you need to take action in order to meet your New Year's year fitness resolutions. I'm going to change this to quiz, change this to quiz. I'm actually going to do something. I just don't like the black. It's weird because it's our own branding. I'm going to switch that around. I'm going to make this white, might sit well. No, it looks horrific. God, do you know what? We're going to park the branding for now. We'll get the copy in there. Let's change this to heading 2, so it sits like that. You will be, no, that's it. We have broken down the core fundamental areas that you need to get right to meet your fitness goals. Now, I can't remember the category, we're just going to save it for a minute. So we might be able to, if I'm going to change this, I do think the green's going to look good. Let's just make it a lot lighter. Something like that. Oh, something like that. This can be, we can just use grey, you know. I think it's going to be that one. And then we can use black. Bear with me, I'm just not happy with how this is sitting. I'm just going to pause it and then get it going again, okay? Okay, so I've just played around with it. It's still not what I would be happy with, but obviously I've not planned anything here. So we're just going to dive into the graphics. I think we can find a cool way to do it. And I can show you how I typically build out templates before our graphic design team fully dive in. So what I'll do is I'm going to go to a whiteboard. And then I'm going to just type in fitness. I'm going to use graphics. What you'll see here is I quite like that as a concept. Weirdly, it's the black and white's cool. That's fine. Okay, what you can do is if you click info, you can see more like this. This might be just quite a cool little graphic. Now I'm hoping for very similar ones. That's brilliant. So I don't know why these didn't come up. They're clearly done by maybe a very similar designer. Cool. We're just gonna Quite happy there. So then what you'll start to see is I start to build a graphical concept of what we're trying to do here. So let's use our brains. Let's go back one. And we've got a lot to do in a short space of time. So we're going to go to the questions. I'm going to write down the categories. So we've got nutrition, habits, strength, cardio training. Then we've got mindset, clarity. That's a bad one, but we can edit that. I'm going to go back to our landing page. I don't mind that. It might just be that we need to add a background or an image. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to type these out very quickly. So we've got nutrition. Oh my God. Nutrition habits. I'll make sure it's like that. We've got strength, training, cardio, training. Then I've got mindset, clarity. I'm going to leave them there. The key thing I'm going to look at is these images. So I think I'll be able to find a little stickman image that can go into each of these, and that you'll start to see how instantly this will start to look a lot better. The copy decisions, we will do them right at the end. Copy is very important for this. So I want to do maybe square, so I can use the logo. And so, stick man eating, something like that. Quite aggressive, that one. Just got to remember, so let's go and download that. And here I can edit the photos. Aha, is he going to say something annoying? No, it should have downloaded. So I wasn't in downloads. Well, this is bizarre. Oh, there it is. So bizarre. Let's just run with it. Sick man gym. There were loads before, wasn't there? Okay. We can just copy it from before. So let's use that one. Make sure it's the same size. I'm just going to double check this. I click position. I'm going to copy that and copy that. I've got a clever little tool that allows me to save stuff that copied. So we're just going to do. Ooh, I should have locked ratio. Let's just undo one. Lock the ratio. At least then the width is going to be the same. I know it's going to be very close. Did I make sure that was centered? Yeah, that's fine. One thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to make them bigger to stand out on that page. like so. That'll do. Okay, so we've got the two new ones there. I'm going to add them in. Make it slightly bigger. Perfect, I think that looks good. Cardio, so we kind of want a stick man running. It's quite funny. I'm going to use this one definitely for the mindset one. Add another one. Does it fit in with the overall? Yeah, that's fine. We still want one that's good at running. Can't see one yet. Let's go back to the top. I'm pretty sure there'll be one that's okay. It just doesn't look that good, does it? I think it's fine. I'm just going to crop it a little bit. Now, I do often get asked, how do we like pick a style out? Now, it will vary by scorecard design, but a lot of the time I'm visualizing this for ads, and I can already start to see how you can almost, what most people will be doing is they're going to put people who are like massive, ripped. What we can do to stand out is really like sort of take that away in terms of you are genuinely just a normal person. Like you can just, it's a quiz at the end of the day. So I just want people to see it and be like, okay, I kind of want to just play around. It's meant to be playful. I do see a lot of people making them really corporate, and there is definitely a space for that. Just in terms of like what we're trying to do here is like PT trying to get people in, and we can use these. Obviously, on the testimonials, we will start using people who are, who clearly got results. But at this stage, we just want someone to take the quiz. And I don't think if you're maybe going to take this quiz, if there was loads of people who are shredded, that might help or not. I don't think it will at this initial stage. Okay, and then we're going to dive into this mindset one. And then that might have the base branding. That'll do. So now what we are going to do, just a little quick thing here, I'm going to just make the card background color of very light green. Maybe just adds a little bit extra to it. Now we've got to find a New Year's resolution image. I'm going to try and keep it in this stickman format. It's going to be difficult. This could be a good one. That's one that I spotted. Info. Let's try and see if we can see more like this. Let's just go stickman. Now you can, obviously, we've got a graphic design team. This is not something that I would be really done into because I don't really have a graphical bow in my body too much. But for this, I can work it out. Now, these are quite interesting. We could play around with these on our... Just going to add these to a new page because I'm going to use them in a clever way and I'll show you it. But let's just use this one for this hero image next to our copy there. Like so. I'm going to just download it and hopefully this is going to start to make sense now. Okay, I'm going to try and do something a little bit different here. It's display options. We have a background image, so I sort of know that we can imagine if there's just a few stickmen here that added a little bit to this landing page. So what I'm going to do is I quite like these examples. Oh, black in. You can start to see how these are probably going to be the stages. So what I'm thinking, this is where your creativity can come in. I can start to see how I could just draw little arrows and this is going to sit at the bottom of the page. So all I need to do is I need to go File, I need to do a new. I'm just going to look up ScoreApp image pixel sizes. I do have it on a doc somewhere, but there we go. So we're looking at the hero image, 3000 by 1500. Cool. So I'm going to do custom size. So this is it. I'm just going to go back to our thing. I'm going to copy all of these. Just make them slightly bigger here. I'm going to do it like that. I'm going to make this one slightly bigger. I'm just going to add some arrows. Let's use some. No, let's actually use a little bit better one like this one. Maybe not. One looks better. Let's. That one's going to be best suited actually. A little bit smaller. I'm going to just pop that there. No, I don't like it. I can't make my mind up. Fine. Let's do slightly less. Cool. I'm going to flip it vertically. No, we're not. We're going to do horizontally. Like so. And we're just going to copy these across. Now, see how this looks. Obviously, I am fully admitting it's not a 10 out of 10, but this is just something that we can do. So we're going to go background image. I'm going to add in what we've just designed. If it loads, what happened there? There we go. Okay, the way that's sitting, I'm not too happy with it. Let's move this back here. But we're going to pause for now. I'm going to dive back into it a little bit later. Okay, so we paused last time out. I was aware that it's like an hour-long video. We've actually had a bit of a change of plan. I'm just going to complete this funnel. From this, you should be able to see that there is a lot of work that goes into scorecards. It is usually more than an hour and a half that I was hoping to make this video. So we're going to just complete this scorecard, no matter how long it takes, even if it's 3, 4, 5 hours. I'm going to persevere here. I just took a little pause because I had a busy afternoon that day, but we're back and we're just going to complete it. But once again, for our scorecards, we have a graphic designer who comes in, picks up all of these things to make sure it is perfectly graphically designed, versus myself, because I am not a graphic designer, but I can get the key concepts of what I want to put down, and then we'll go to a graphic designer to complete it. But this should be, if you don't have that sort of implementation on your end in terms of graphic designer ready on hand, then you should be able to see some of these tactics to get you to a pretty good scorecard and understand the journey, the copy, and how it actually functions behind the scenes. So we're going to fully try and analyze this. Now, I remember leaving it here and I wasn't too happy about this. We're going to make a quick edit to that. I quite liked the rest of it that we've done with these little diagrams, and they add something to it. So the final thing we're going to do is we're just going to play around with that graphic. It might even be that we park it completely, but let me see if I can find it again. This one is it. So what do we need to do with it? I think it needs to be moved up, and it actually needs to be made a tiny bit smaller. I'm going to give that a go. But you can see this is the thing that actually takes a lot of time up. Continually tweaking and trying to make sure your graphics are perfect. Maybe we will speed this up just because this probably isn't the most interesting content, and you probably know that you just need to tweak it and keep editing it until it actually is perfect. Okay, that looks bad, but we're going to preview it. Too far. I kind of want it sitting here, but the only consideration is that this page, I'm just going to do that for now. If I make this smaller or bigger, you'll see that this image moves around a little bit. But in terms of height compared to the page, I think it's fine. So we just need to find the right combination. Obviously, I'm going to make it smaller again. We're going to play around. We're going to get it right, and then we'll move on. But we won't focus too much on graphics going forward. So let's move it down. I think that's pretty good. So touch a little bit further up. Bit of trial and error here. if this doesn't look good, I've got one other solution rather than continually doing this for half an hour or so. So let's just see how this sits. Always close. It is very close. Let's just test out the different screen sizes again. Save, then preview. So you'll see how that actually looks pretty good there. See how it moves about. We're going to do something different just because I'm aware of that. So that's one way we could add it to the background. Obviously, typically, if I just show you a different scorecard very quickly, let's pause it for 1 second. So this is a different type of scorecard. This is one we're currently actually using. You will see the difference between that and having like an image background. If I just preview it, you can see how that background is a lot cleaner because it's more of like an actual background than utilizing an image. So if I play around with the size, it really doesn't affect that text. So just something to bear in mind. We are going to do something a little bit different here. We'll go to Canva. I am going to go back to this. Add the page. I'm going to go back to our other Canva. I'm going to copy this image. I should be able to paste it in here. So, something I think that we can do to make this fit a little bit better. I think that'd be fine. Download it, current page only, make it full quality. Then we're going to jump back into scorecard. We're actually going to use let's use a slightly different one. Banner. I'm going to use this one. Right to the top. We're going to use the same copy style. We're going to change that background. Display option. We're going to remove that background image. It should turn green. Ooh, we're not on that one. The heel. That green. Cool. Slightly different to what I had originally pictured. Is it this one? I think it's this color. There we go. Take this as the core title here. We're going to add our image in here. Didn't do transparent background. Rookie error. I just still won't make it look so good, but that's okay. It's all good. And I am going to change this section style. We're going to move it to auto. And we're going to switch that to the right-hand side. Okay, that looks slightly better to me. I'm going to give it 6 out of 10. Let's move on. We can tick that off. I'm okay with that. I can move on now. Looks slightly better. So we're going to dive into our... Okay, we're going to dive into the questions. And we're just going to, you'll see how we can just start adding, yes,
all home prepped. Double P? I'm not sure. A even a mixture. Something like that. We won't do the scoring yet. We're just going to get this. We're going to use this again. No, it's a problem. A limit to some degree. Okay, you can start to see we are not just doing very basic answers here. We can picture this like a flow. So I want people, my goal of this is for them to self-diagnose. So for instance, what is our target market here? Very likely we're going to have 4 or 5 different types of people that we can capture from this, and we want to sort of disqualify the rest. So we want people who, you know, they've finally reached that point, they've hit January, and they're like, I genuinely need to get my diet, exercise in order. And they might have never trained before, they might have trained occasionally, but this is like a key thing that they've been trying to do for a long time. We then have people who might have just, you know, over Christmas, they've got a bit carried away and they're looking for like a new start. We then might have people who are, you know, they've trained very often, and, you know, January might just be things to take them to the next level. Then we're going to have the type of people who are very rigid, very stuck it, like they are in great physical shape, they understand what they're doing, and maybe they don't need a January plan. And then we're going to have some degrees in between that. So we are using like emotional questions here to get them to self-diagnose and realize how severe their problem is. So for instance, do you limit your intake of processed foods and sugary snacks? We could do a yes and no. Yes, very black and white. Or no, it's a problem. That's someone clicking that, they are reading that, and they're like, okay, yes, I don't limit them at all, I have a problem. Or even if I limit to some degree, compared to this one, you can see how that is like the end goal that we want someone to get to. Here we go. We can do based off timing as well. No, never. Sometimes. Focus on it. Yes, water is a key consideration of my day. Once again, this is going to be very similar. So we're going to do a very similar format. No, I rarely eat protein. Not every, but not every meal can just be that answer. Every meal has a protein focus. I'll leave it at that. And this one, we're going to try and speed them up. No, some days, every day, religiously. We're going to go 0. What's a good unit here? I'm going to just look it up. Units. I've just looked it up, and I think 14 is like the standard. So 0 units. Let's just say standard is 14 units. 30 units plus. Now, this might come with some educational level. So if I was going to build this out and there was like units involved, then I could just take them to a web page that tells them, they input the alcohol and it works out the exact units. Just for this basic one, I'm just going to keep it as it is. And just something here, just to be aware of, that I'm thinking about as well. Because this context of the quiz is almost like, do you need a full January reset or January training plan? It's almost going to be reverse scoring. So if someone scores higher, that's actually going to be this is the sort of thing you need to think about with scorecards. Picture like if someone, like you can see here, like with the scoring, the way it's going to work is if someone puts 30 units in, that's going to give them a score of 10, which is almost like reverse to what we want unless we structure it that way. So what I mean by that is that's going to give them 10 points to probably the diet and drink, which is going to signal a good score because they're going to get 10 points for that. Versus actually, if someone drinks more alcohol, we actually want them to score badly. So there's two ways to look at it. We can reverse the rest of the scoring of the scorecard and say, like, okay, if they scored high in sleep, let me just double check the categories again. If someone scores high in nutrition habits, that means they've got a problem. So we could do it needs urgent attention. If they score 0, then, or like 10%, 10 in that category, we could put it like not a issue to address. So that's just something to bear in mind. I think I'm going to do it. All that I need to do is I'm just going to switch these around now, which is a little bit different to probably the optimal way to do this. But obviously, these are the final things that you'll do when you sort of review your scorecard. Let's stick with these buttons. No. Strength. Training. No. I do strength training but have no program. I think it's going to be for the UK, it's going to be double ME, but we'll stick with it for now. Of course, we just had a few different things there. What I'm going to do, and this is like an expert tip here, I'm going to add in, do you currently, do you something about, do you do strength training? Need to think of a clever way to put that. Do you currently is strength training part of your exercise? We're going to move this up, save it, and we're going to use the jump to. Now, this is quite important. So if someone puts yes, it's in the answers. So if someone clicks a yes, we will ask them about the strength training. So they'll jump to that question. If they put no, what would make sense? We will jump to, and we'll just pause that because we're going to do something similar for the cardio. But the context is, we will, if someone puts no, I don't do strength training, there's no point asking about like, do you track your sets, etc., because they clearly do not do it, and it would not make any sense. Which allows us to remove that answer. Train strength, but do not. And let's use the word that's used in the question. Cool. Now it's starting to make a little bit more sense. Yes and no, that can be very straightforward. We're going to add an extra one in here. Yes. It's tracked. I keep a mental note. No, nothing is tracked. Cool. I actually think this can go, this question. That can go just fine. Do you do any forms of cardio? And once again, we're just going to move it up. You can start to see how a really good scorecard works. Where is it? I think that's better. Once again, this is the little details that will matter, but this is what happens when we review scorecards. And I often, like within Leader, we will peer review scorecards and just change the language depending on how they sit. So change the answers, change the question, sorry. I'm going to go for this. I'm going to go to 0 to 2. I kind of want to include like walks in there, so that's why I've just changed that question 2 to 6 activities. We're going to go 6 to 10. 10 plus activities. Say that. What forms of cardio do you typically? I'm actually going to do one of these radio button ones. And we're going to do actually checkbox here. So walking, running, going to pass that across. People might walk on a treadmill, so we're going to add that in. What other forms of cardio is there? Sporting activity. That's fine. I'm going to do 0 to 5,000. 10,000, 15,000, and 15,000 plus is probably like a pro level. Not sure what happened there, but we're back. So 15,000 plus. That can be yes or no. Yes or no. Okay. I'm quite happy for them to be yes or no. So they are the questions. Obviously, we added in these previously. And they need to fit into our questions here. I'm quite happy then. So we're going to move on. We will do the scoring right at the end. So here we go. Do you know what? Let's do the branding elements very quickly. I'm going to change this header so it's black so it fits the logo. We're going to change this to black. I can see that's slightly different, which is bizarre, but that's fine. Obviously, if we were going to actually release this one properly, then I would change that, of course. There's something a bit weird about the... For me, this feels really big. I'm going to move the question to a central, just so it looks better. Like so, it just fits a bit better. It might just be because I'm doing it on a big screen. For some reason, there's a massive gap here. Potentially just the screen size, which is okay. We're dive into the results page. Now, how I typically build these results pages, I'm going to dive into two clever things here. The first one is we can make this dynamic. So basically, depending on how they scored, if they scored like overall, I need to sort my fitness life out scorecard. So the outcome is, this is the key thing. I probably just need to get my head around it. Let me think for 1 minute. Okay, so what we can do is just make sure, okay, depending on how they scored, we can say, look, you scored very low, which appears to mean that you are in a situation where you need to sort your fitness life out. If you scored high, we can say, looks like across all of the things that we've measured, you're on top of your fitness journey and, you know, you're doing fine. I'm sure you'll be moving to your goals in January. So what we just need to do is craft some content. Okay, it's already got this, but this can be dynamic. So the key thing here, what we've started to do, which is quite fun, is we always do a banner now at the top. I'm just going to move this to the top. we're going to do our little green color here. First, I need to remove the background image. We are going to make it wide content. We're going to remove that button, of course. And here's quite a clever trick just to add a little bit of personalization. What we can do is lead first name here. Here are we might just change this to a green color for the branding. Hey John, here's your personalized result here. Page, of course. Now this just sets the scene. We can make it quite tight at the top, like so. Thank you for completing the something like that. Looks a little bit cleaner. We're going to change it to bold. It's fine. Now, luckily, ScoreApp has almost done the copy for us. I'm not going to dive into this too heavily, mainly because it will just take loads of time. Like what you do here is you really dial it into your different sections, and you're going to give personalized advice depending on where they are. So, obviously, for these ones, I might do it based on like if someone said I don't do cardio, naturally they're not going to go to those questions. That's a reminder for me to go and do that, which then is going to be a signal that we can tailor the scoring so that the only way they get low is if they're not doing any cardio whatsoever. If they're doing some cardio, we can move them to medium, and likewise with the strength training. In terms of the nutrition habits, once again, we can pick out certain things where we want to design the results for. The one thing I'm going to highlight to you guys, if you're on a plan, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to utilize this AI feature, which half does your job for you. So the cool part about this is instead of almost like half guessing because you're going to be based off categories. So picture someone on that might say like, I'm sleeping really well, my nutrition is really good, but I'm drinking really heavily. It's very hard for you to put that sort of level of detail into your category scoring sections because you get the brackets. So that person might score medium, but that medium could be comprised of something completely different where they're not drinking alcohol, they're sleeping well, but their diet is not very optimal. So for you to get that level of detail in these insights is slightly difficult. The way we usually build these now, and this is quite a recent feature of the AI, what we will do is these are going to be used for like very precise data because we can prompt the AI in that way. These are going to be used for probably like next check, like overall top optimal checklists, like first next steps. So picture, this is going to be like if you were to have a perfect nutritional strategy, you would limit your alcohol to this amount, you would make sure protein's the focus of every meal, you would make sure you're drinking at least 2 liters of water every day, etc., etc. Almost as though someone can come in here and utilize these, and then they're reasonably consistent with a bit of commentary at low, medium, and high. It looks like you've scored low in this section. That's typically where we see people are breaking down across multiple habits to be able to go to the next stage, pick 2 or 3 of these to try and fix in January or moving forward in the early months, and that sort of thing. However, what we're going to say here is we can use this and we'll generate an example just so you can see how this sits. So here we go. You can see how it's like very in-depth what they do. So You consistently prepare your meals, which are a fantastic foundation. Your dedication training, you develop impressive gym competency. Your daily set count is excellent, reflecting an active lifestyle. Your strong discipline, brilliant. You try to increase your daily water intake, and then we can just have a line at the bottom potentially that says just check below to see like the actionable steps. And obviously, when we actually do these, we will context it completely, but this has done a reasonable job from the get-go. So check below. So I'm not sure. Loom's breaking today. But anyway, we'll just put check below to see your action step checklist per category. Copy that. I'm going to add it into this one. Then we're going to generate, and hopefully it says that exact thing, which then moves them to that bottom part. Cool. Going to make it bold. Okay, perfect. Looks very clean considering previously there were different sizes, but that looks really good. So our journey, brilliant. We've got them in. We've got the traffic. It's a scorecard one, so we just want educational things here. I would remove this for now. What we can do is we can use a content-based one. So who we are. And we might include an image. I'm just going to use a personal trainer here. Obviously, we would use, that exact person. Go with that one. Looks quite... That one's probably better. A little bit, more interesting. Last one looks a little bit scary if you were just to try and be introduced to someone. It's a little bit more smiley, it's a little bit more inviting. We help people build. Whatever a personal trainer, we build personalized training plans for people of all abilities. We have seen it all before. Check out some of our previous client work. Obviously, a longer variation of that, it might be leader PT. We might have a logo, and this would be see our client results. And one thing we might add in the testimonial one, something like this. Gonna move it up. Gonna make sure this is all aligned to our current sizing. And imagine these are customer testimonials around the PT. Now, this might be client work, this might be more graphical, and we can use that. And it also might have different things on there. This will be more, word of mouth stuff. So that is how you build a results page like that. So just rewind the journey from the beginning. We will use some sort of pain style marketing, so paid ads that might be saying, are you feeling like this? We've seen it all before. It's very typical to maybe enjoy your Christmas, but and have the best intentions of January. How many times have you said that to yourself? Make sure 2026 you actually take action over your fitness journey. And what we've done is we've just got a scorecard that just makes sure that you are ready to do it, or to see how committed you are. It's a quick quiz. You can take it. You can see like areas to actually take action on and areas that you're actually doing very well at. It's completely free to take this quiz. Let's change this to quiz. Someone clicks on it, they get to hear the January scorecard. I need to sort my fitness life out. For those who have slightly more Merry Christmas than planned, take the quiz and find out personalized report feedback tailored to your specific needs. Quick and free. Take the quiz. We've got the key areas here, which add something. We've then got the question journey. Now, this is quite a lot of questions. Typically, maybe for a scorecard one, we might do slightly less, but I think this is quite comprehensive and they're not too taxing. We're not asking them to input fields, etc. The key questions for us are going to be around this. So, are you currently following a structured training plan? Would you benefit from this? What are your fitness goals? Now, I'm going to very quickly do the scoring. I'm not going to think too much about it. You can get lost in this all. Typically, I might use ChatGPT to copy all of the questions that we finally got down and assign them in the right scoring. So it completely makes sense. You've got no loopholes. But just for now, I'm going to do it off the top of my head, which is going to be interesting. So bear with me. Here we go. Let's start that way. I'm just going to switch that around. Technically, no scoring needs to be done for that. Are you currently following? That's more of a question for us again. That just makes sense. What I might do here is each question, maybe you can just almost put here. You can utilize that instruction things here. And we're just going to put nutrition habits as the title here. Like so. I'm going to save that. So like we said, if they score high, they're going to get a high mark. Mixture, we're just going to follow this pattern. We're going to go 4, 2, zeros. And then if we have 4 answers, we can add in the 3. It's just a little tip. Like if we did the scoring as like 2, 1, 0, then naturally if we've got a question that has 4 different answers, that's going to affect it a little bit. The only thing that I'm a little bit worried about is the alcohol consumption, where we've got out of 10 because that could skew the results. That's just a thing. I probably, if I was going to actually put this out there, I might remove that sliding scale and just add in them as buttons, just so we can really control that answer and not have to boost up all the scoring. But, let's just get it live and we can play around with that sort of thing. Nutritional habits like that. Once again, let's do the instruction. Going to get 0. They're going to get 2 for this one. They're going to get 4 for this one. Just for the sake of time, I'm not going to add in that extra thing for everything. 0, 2, 4. Cool. I'm going to save each time because sometimes ScoreApp might just glitch or my internet might go and then I've lost everything. Now, these sort of things, depending on your brand and how interesting you want to make it, you could start adding in answers here. Like, do you eat protein source every meal? No, I rarely eat protein, not every meal. And then you could have one that is, I'm eating protein like all the time, every day, to the point where like I can feel it coming out my pores and stuff like that. A bad example here, but like picture if you're a PT who wants to go after like the gym bro community, you could tweak the answers to fit that. Like one example is probably a niche one. It's like the Jay Cutler 6-hour arm workout and stuff like that. So it's like, are you regularly doing strength training? Yes. Like I'm I'm at the level where I'm doing 6-hour arm workouts and stuff like that. Obviously, it really depends on your brand. So do you track calories? Of course, you can do some fun stuff with the scoring, but for now, we're just going to get it live, and then I'm going to review it, and then I'm going to give you some more insight into some fun stuff that we would do here. Scoring here, strength training, effectiveness. They're going to get 2 here. They're going to get 0 here. And this is one way, even if they're a beginner, because they're strength training, I'm going to give them a score. That's going to get them 0. And these are actually going to be equal. Just think, like, if someone does strength training and follows a plan, it's fine. If they do strength training and they don't follow a plan, then fine. This is where, thinking about it, that question that we deleted might have been interested, like, based off, like, during your strength training, have you, like, seen this? We're just going to cover it with this question. Because it's very relatable. Yes, no, strength training, that's fine. We're actually going to give them 3 there. No, nothing is tracked. That's going to be 0. Just think, like, I'm someone who goes to the gym. I don't actually track every single set, rep, weights. I just keep a mental note and sort of know what I'm doing. Once again, we're going to move to cardio. They're going to get 2. No is going to be that. If they click yes, they'll naturally go to that next question. Cool. If they do that, they're going to skip them all and then go to the mental ones. Which is all fine. 0 to 2 is very low. They're actually going to get 1. We're going to do it. Ooh, just make sure you're clicking the right thing. No actual need for the scoring here. We're going to be scoring here. It's still going to be 1, 2. Once again, we're going to scale it up. Just keep it like this. They're actually going to get 1. No, we're actually going to put 0. That's a bad answer. Sometimes give them 1, 3, and then 4. It could even be a reverse one. Like, if you're never ever skipping a workout, you might be like David Goggins, in which that would be a negative mindset, maybe, in terms of clarity. Cool. And then this one doesn't need that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this live. So just look back at the footage. It's going to be an add-on very quickly because for some reason me actually taking the scorecard lagged out, and then we're going to dive into the results page. So past me is going to jump back in. So let's do this very quickly so you can see actually me taking this. So we'll just take the quiz, and the key thing is I'm going to put my information in. This is fully customizable, so we can add in phone number, we can add in company name, we could add in anything we want here. We could add in opt-in instructions so that we can market them another time, but let's just take it. All I've added in a few bits is, like, for the questions that are multiple choice where they can tick multiple, I've just said tick everything that applies. So for example, like that, sort of, we can put a mixture is fine. I limit, yes. Some days we're there at the moment. Yes, it is. I don't set my own program. We're in this bracket at the moment. Yes, I do. No, I don't. Very occasionally. Yes. Probably, yeah. So this part is just going to spin up the results. This is because we've got the AI. So the AI has to work out what we're doing. If we didn't have the AI, then the results will come up straight away. But what we'll see here, and I'll dive back into the last part of the video. This is just an add-on, and I go through this results page.
So Loom has played up again, so I've uninstalled it and reinstalled it, looked back at the footage, and I don't think you got to see this, but I'll have to edit it all out at the end, so hopefully this will make sense for you guys. I know it's a long video, and hopefully Loom is just not completely corrupted everything, but this is the results page. So you'll see here, the cool part is the personalization. Do you know what? Let's see if we can get the one up that I just did. So I'll go to leads and click here, view result. Okay. So the cool part about it is, you know, we've got the personalization, like I mentioned. Hey Neil, here's your results. Make sure to go through the whole page to get the most out of it. Now this is personalized. We've got the interesting stuff here, and I answered it quite honestly there, and I, you know, it's quite good at how clear it is. And to be honest, this is a great indication of what I could do more. Like, I don't track my daily calories. I just sort of wing it, and I've got good insight into the calories that I eat, but I definitely could track them if I wanted to go for like real marginal gains. Maybe I don't look at my progress consistently. If I'm out, I could definitely prep more meals at home rather than just sort of trying to get something out. I don't have a training plan. I sort of just have something that I've made up, and definitely accountability from a coach may actually strengthen it. So that's a really good indication here. The scorings are very good. Imagine now if we had a next session or like the best practice checklist for everything. This is quite cool. And this, however, we're going to take it one step further. This is what I started diving into before everything went a bit awry. So we're going to say, you know, perfect fit. So if I could distill down what I think a perfect fit is into actually the perfect set of answers, I'm only going to pick 2 answers here. And these are the ones that we've put in for us. So basically, are you currently following a structured training plan? Is no. And then what we can do is we can add and. Would you benefit from being part of group who holds you accountable? Yes. Of course. This is going to get a little bit interesting. What are the options here? Sort of. Or they put sort of. And then in terms of would you benefit this, it is probably. I've missed out a couple of groups actually there, so we're going to edit it. You can see how this is quite an advanced feature, but obviously we could do it where it's yes and probably. Sorry, no and probably. And then the final one is all they answered no and yes, I think it is at the bottom one. Yes, so if we got that, we've got sort of and probably, no, yes, we've got no, probably, and no. It'll be sort of and yes. No, no, sort of, yes. Yes, probably. Cool. Now we're going to do something quite interesting here. We're going to go to the results page. Imagine if they're perfect fit. I know we have said that we don't want to sell on it, but we could have
this might get you starting to think how you can utilize ScoreApps really good or really effectively. So we just move it above the share with friends. Special offer. You what was the actual characteristics? Oh god. Because you answered that, you currently don't have a clear, structured training plan, plus you answered that a group to accountability we invite you to join our free community full of similar people, plus we will build you a January action plan based off your results. Our picture this was, we use an image, a training plan, see if there's a good image, gym, community, maybe something like that. Look, obviously it would indicate the actual community that we're sending them to, just for something like this. So this is an awful way of visualizing it, obviously, but imagine we're just going to do one more thing. Audience-based, perfect fit. So now, if I was to answer it and I answer those questions in any of those formats, then only that group would see this. If they don't answer in that way, they're just going to see the normal results page. So you can start to have really individual journeys on your one results page, depending on exactly how they answered the questions. So picture if we go back to those 4 key sort of groups of people that we thought about. We have people who've never trained before, who are, wanting to get back into the swing of things properly, who are, relatively experienced and might just benefit from a community. And also we might have people who are very experienced and just want a real expert level plan. You can start to see how you can build out these results pages depending on each journey. So you can have 8 of these. Let's say it's the experienced person. We can lean on that we've worked with very experienced lifters who are getting to the next level, and depending on the scores, they might be lacking in a couple of areas that we can take care of. If someone just wants to get back in the swing of things, you'd be like, okay, we understand that you are experienced, but you can go to another level with a clear plan. So this is how we actually build these out for our clients and really develop this whole idea. So don't picture a ScoreApp as just something that is going to give them some basic insights. You can tailor the whole experience and put the right offer in front of them. So that is sort of a full funnel build for this first one. It's taken a long time, and we are going to shorten them in the future. But there's still things that we haven't ticked off that I don't think it needs a lot of time. But obviously you've got the results email, you've got the abandon email to add on if you want that. I would actually tinker with these score tiers, where if someone actually puts that, then they're doing okay. We've got tracking for your Facebook and Google Analytics, and you can add an image for share appearance. Lead form as well. You might want to get phone number here. Loads of things. We can change the email validation.
We can integrate it with CRMs. We can embed it on the website. These are all the nitty gritties that we say that are slightly away from your scorecard or quiz funnel build, but do make the difference. But this video was just going through the crux of how to build a quiz funnel from scratch. Hope you enjoyed it.